Welcome back to the French Cooking Academy, everyone, and thanks for your support to watch our last salad series that we've made. There was absolutely lots of views, so really glad with that, and we're going to keep on going now with these little mini series because I think they're quite useful, and starting here with a brand new series on the basics of sauces. There's going to be a bit of theory, a bit of practice, and we're going to be looking at the old classic ways and the new kinds of things. Now, if you've been part of our newsletter, you will have received a 3-part series email talking about this, and this is why I'm doing this now on YouTube. We also have a brand new free ebook downloadable on our website. If you haven't got it yet, check the website. For this episode, you can just relax and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a bit of a theory session. We're going to be looking at some books here, looking at the classic ways with the two Guide Culinaire from Escoffier. English version, if you don't have it, get it if you don't. French version, there's some slight things I want to mention about some differences, and then looking at the new stuff. How sauces evolve, what they are today. Very high level, very simple, using the Larousse Gastronomique. At the end, I'm going to really tell you what's important to keep in mind as a home cook, what are the things you should be concentrating on, and what are the things you should not spend too much time on because it's not going to be really useful for you. So, as I said, enjoy the ride, take an iPad or something, go on the couch, maybe a glass of wine, a coffee, and let's begin that new series. Now, it is no secret that sauces play an integral part in the world of French cooking. It's one of the main pillars, and it is demonstrated here on the Guide Culinaire because the very first page of the book is called Chapter 1, Sauces. And we go straight into the subject here. And when it comes to sauces, mother sauces is really the talk of town. Everybody, every website, every video says, oh, the mother sauces. If you learn the mother sauces, like you know everything about sauces in French cooking. But this is a big misconception. The list of mother sauces is established. It's a list that can be used as a bit of a memo that you can keep in your head to know, okay, these are important sauces, useful sauces, and know the definition of a mother sauce, which is simply a mother sauce. It's a sauce that can be used on its own or be used as a base upon which you can build another sauce. Okay. So when you use the Guide Culinaire, don't expect to actually have a big spiel on mother sauces. You're going to have an explanation on the basic preparation used in the making of sauces. It's teaching you what is the core components of sauce. So roux-based sauces, as it's outlined before, is going to tell you how to make a brown stock, an ordinary white stock, a chicken stock, you have a game stock, a fish stock, a red wine fish stock, and so on and so forth. He's going to continue to talk about the glaze. He's been talking about how to reduce, how it's used, etc. And the thickening agent, that is the roux, with the different colors and the timing, how to cook it, for how long, etc., etc. So for Escoffier, the basic sauces are the sauces that are used and combined with a roux, that are thickened with a roux. So you got the Espagnole sauce, okay? You've got a demi-glace, you can have a jus de veau, you can have a velouté sauce, you can have a sauce allemande, all of which are some of them that are not in the list of mother sauces. But after that, he's going to go on with other kinds of categories, the small compound brown sauces. And after that, you can have the small compound white sauces. As it is here in the small compound white sauces. Or what you need to remember is that sauces and mother sauces is something that is good to know as a reference. Okay, it's a quick kind of a mind map, and that tells you, yes, you can use an Espagnole, a tomato sauce, a velouté, a béchamel. They're useful sauces. But when it comes to the classification and the use of sauces, it's more complex than that. And you're better spending your time learning how to make stock, how to understand the use of a roux and how to make a good white sauce, for instance, rather than just blindly making all of these mother sauces, because they're also not all used anymore. So that brief overview here, don't get hang on too much about it. This is the old version from the 1900, but things have changed now. So have a brief look at what the modern things telling us. Right, so needless to say that the classification of sauces by Escoffier, the explanation is quite convoluted. You've witnessed this, but there are some key points we can remember, that stocks are one of the most important components when it comes to making sauces, and that a roux, that mixture of flour and butter, is a thickening agent that is used to thicken certain sauces, like the béchamel, the velouté, the old-fashioned or classic Espagnole, and the tomato sauce. Now, when it comes to the compound sauces, the white compounds, the small sauces, etc., that gets a bit too much for many people. This is why what you see on here is the modern classification of sauces as per the Larousse Gastronomique. It is still labeled, it's just a label as mother sauces or the important sauces, and it goes into 3 simple categories. White sauces that are based on either velouté or béchamel, brown sauces that are based on a brown stock, a demi-glace, and sometimes some tomato, because it's a mix of brown stock and tomato. And then you've got the emulsified sauces, cold and warm. So emulsified sauces are sauces like the hollandaise, you can see the hollandaise, the béarnaise, or even the beurre blanc, and for the cold one, the mayonnaise, and the sauce vinaigrette. A much easier to grasp kind of classification. So when you think of sauces at home, and you can just think in your mind, okay, yes, there are white sauces, brown sauces, and emulsified sauces. Way easier to remember than the Escoffier style that we've seen. But of course, that is all just theory and talk, and what I want to do to finish that video is really have a debrief, and let's discuss a little bit what is really important for you as a home cook. What are the things that are good to learn when it comes to sauces when you're cooking at home? All right, so by now I'm sure that everything we've seen must be absolutely clear as mud, as we say, because these theory or classroom sessions are always the same. It's an overload of information, and you would go out of a classroom and say, oh my God, I can't even remember what was said in there. But out of the fluff, the whole information, you may have picked up some little things. And perhaps that stocks are important in French sauces. There are different types of stock, white stock, brown stocks, that the roux is a thickening agent used to make a béchamel or a velouté. And perhaps that sauces are classified in an obscure selections of sauces like brown sauces, white sauces, compound sauces, and so on and so forth. And you know what? If you've learned any of these, it's a win, because that's what's important. Learning one little new piece of information at a time is vital. It is not about all the stuff I've said. It is slowly getting around the basics. And the basics here is what we need to talk about. So the question I like to put out there is that how do you think this can help you at home? How come sauces and classification and mother sauces, in what way, shape or form is this going to be helpful to you in your cooking? And there's no real answer to that. And this is something I'm saying always in my courses, is that when you want to practice new things, you need to start with something that you know already. Sounds crazy. So when it comes to sauces, because of the fact that anybody watching this video has got different skills, different cooking skills, different habits, and different things that they know. There's no point for me to tell you, oh, you have to try A, B, C, D, or you need to learn all the mother sauce. It's not gonna help you. But if you think of something that you know, so let's think of a white sauce, like a béchamel. I'm sure many of you have done that or have heard about this. What you can do when you're using this reference book is to try to visit the way it's explained and the way it's done on here, and compare that to the things that you already done. So if you've been doing a white sauce for years, maybe just using milk straight off and salt and pepper, you'll discover that in here there's flavoring ingredients you can add in your milk, like onions, cloves, bay leaf, thyme, to flavor the milk. That's going to further flavor your béchamel. You're going to learn that béchamel have different type of consistency, that if your amount of flour butter differs, if you use a small amount or a large amount, you're going to have a very thin béchamel to use for certain things, or a thick béchamel. All these little things is a great place to start. Okay, so the things you're familiar with, the things you've done before, if you've done a hollandaise, if you've done another sauce, you can refer to this and look at the difference, look at the modern way of doing it, and try to perfect your technique. Try to change the way you make things, because that's gonna build your confidence in the kitchen. And this is very, very, very important. Now, I did mention that I will tell you what are the things that you should be kind of learning, okay? So when it comes to the mother sauces, the first thing I would say, don't get hung up on that list. First off, the sauce espagnole, has been mentioning before in many videos, is not used anymore by chefs or in restaurants at all. It's been ditched, okay? Too much flour, too much standard taste, the bacon, etc., the long time to make it. So it is good for someone that is curious. If you want to know how to make it, you got reference guide, and I've got plenty of videos on the channel that I will link in the video description that will show you the whole process. So let's talk about that. If you're curious about the mother sauces, you will find a brand stock video, Escoffier style. You will find the sauce espagnole in there. You will find videos on how to make a beurre blanc, if you want, how to make a hollandaise, how to make a velouté, and so on and so forth. You're going to find all these videos attached in that video, and you can pick and choose to see the process. When it comes to picking the right thing that is really useful to you, what I would say, my advice again, is to try to pick something that fits in your style of cooking. Is it something that you want to use? So when we think about a hollandaise, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to make egg benedict. I want to surprise my family with a breakfast with that sauce. If this is something that you want to try, and you're comfortable with that level of expertise, which is a bit of an emulsification of a sauce, look at the video that I've got. If you don't feel too thrilled by it and you want to start by something else, learn to make a stock, for instance. Well, you've mastered this, perhaps go on and try to make a velouté, which is mixing a roux with your stock, an addition of a few little ingredients and cream, and you're going to have a brand new sauce. So start with this little simple step, and this is the technique we use in all of our courses. We start small, okay, with very simple things to build your confidence in the kitchen. Because when you succeed at making a tiny thing, even a mayonnaise sauce, this is what I've got a comment from our students actually. After a long time, he never mastered the mayonnaise after years and years, and now he's able to make a mayonnaise sauce. It was a revelation. And this is what you need in your kitchen. It's not about the whole jargon, my explanation, whatever. It's about to really see, okay, what I want to try, find something that fits your level of expertise, and something you're comfortable with, and then if you don't know anything about it, you can watch my videos, or you can look at these books. It's going to outline precisely how to make things step by step. All right? And once you make one thing, you're going to get motivated to make something else. So when it comes to the basics of sauces, remember, there's just a few that are used by many people. So the white sauce would be my number one. Practice on that. The second one would be the velouté, of course, because it is very similar. It's a stock with a roux, so very easy to make. There is derivative to make from that with the sauce suprême. It's all based on the same concept. And then perhaps after that, if you're more skills, go into the hollandaise making, the beurre blanc. You can even try a mayonnaise if you want, because these are part of the emulsified sauces. The béarnaise is also part of the emulsified sauces. So you can see the difference for yourself. You can see what works, but do not start with things that is keeping you out of your depths, okay? If it sounds too complex, you don't understand the culinary term, you don't understand the concept, don't even bother. Stick to the things that feels comfortable to you, okay? So with this in mind, I hope you have some valuable information out of that video. This is just the first part of the series, and there's a free part on the second video. We're gonna start to do some practice. We're gonna talk about the modern sauces, how they kind of evolved, and how to make them. If that sounds interesting, join me next time on the French Cooking Academy. Take care. Bye.
My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry.